Hello, everybody. Welcome back to what is it? The fourth episode of my series, 60. Yeah, fourth episode of my series where I'm going through Americana by the decades. Obviously, going in order. Today's episode is going to focus on the 1990s. It's what a lot of people consider to be kind of the birthplace of what we know as Americana music in all of its glory. Now, I'll be the first to admit, 90s music was never really my favorite. It hasn't really been until recently that I've started getting into some of these bands that kind of helped shape a genre that I love so much. Um, and it's been very interesting to listen, to hear the different uh, connections between these artists and to see where one artist came from versus another, etc. So I think I've got a fairly good selection here. Again, as I said in my last video, and as I kind of hopefully get across in all the videos, this is not a definitive listing of the Americana genre. This is these are records that are in my collection. These are CDs that are in my collection that I'm focusing on. I'm gonna leave people out. I'm gonna have people that I've never heard of before that you probably think are the top, the cream of the crop for this genre, and that's okay. This is what I have, and happy to talk with you in the comments about this and that, things that I screwed up, that kind of thing. So let's just jump into it. Again, no particular order. This particular record here kind of jump started a lot of new new production values, new um, a different perspective on what an artist could be. And there were several of these albums that came out under this series. They were all produced by Rick Rubin, who a lot of people have issues with. He worked with Def Jam and the Beastie Boys. He worked in all sorts of different genres. And this is kind of where he became known as the guy that would take an artist and put them to their bare bones. And of course, I'm talking about Johnny Cash and the first of many of the American recordings. These were songs that Cash knew. These were old folk songs. These were Cash songs that he'd recorded in his career. I think the story goes that Rick Rubin and Tom Petty, he was working with Tom Petty at that point on the Wildflowers album in probably about 1993 or so, before the record came out. I believe they were in a house of blues, and they were there when Johnny Cash was performing at a house of blues. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's essentially like a tourist kind of building that it's a restaurant, it's a gift shop. It kind of is like a kitschy thing. So it's kind of like the same kind of level as playing like in a casino, with that kind of atmosphere to it. And Johnny Cash was playing, and apparently everybody was just talking, having their beer and everything, and not paying attention to Johnny Cash, who was at a very low point in his career. By this point, he was in his 60s, and again, like a lot of artists, just didn't have the spark that he once did. And Rick Rubin kind of took him under his wing. He gave Cash a guitar, and he was just like, play whatever you want, bring a bunch of songs, and Cash did that. And he put out this album, The American Recordings. And again, there were several that went into the early 2000s, even a few after Cash passed away. But I mean, you've got stuff on here like Delia's Gone, Why Me, Lord, Oh Bury Me Not, Tennessee Stud, Redemption. Really, really good stuff. And so this kind of, again, catapulted Rick Rubin into who we know him as today. And now, of course, he's producing so many great artists, including the Avett Brothers, who I love so much. So Johnny Cash, The American Recordings, essential Americana. Kind of sticking in that same country vein. Again, I mentioned Steve Earle kind of got his jump start in the 80s with Copperhead Road. He was really making a name for himself in the 90s, putting out all sorts of great albums. This is one in particular where you have Steve Earle, this gruff and tough guy from Texas. He's hanging out with the Del McCoury Band, one of the more famous and traditional bluegrass groups. This is their album called The Mountain from, what year is it? 1999. It's Steve Earle playing with a bluegrass band. And again, so many of these albums that Earl was putting out all kind of fit into this vein of, you know, strong singer-songwriter type music with a little bit of an edge to it. The outlaw aspect of it. Again, Earl had been in and out of jail, different divorces, all sorts of things that make for a good outlaw country singer. So The Mountain by Steve Earle and the Del McCoury Band, another solid record. Kind of, again, sticking with bluegrass, another favorite album of mine, 1996. Again, it's bluegrass, but it's taking songs that aren't known to be bluegrass songs and making them into bluegrass arrangements. And that's going to be Tim O'Brien with his album Red on Blonde. Now, Tim O'Brien was part of a group called Hot Rise that is still semi-active, who I actually got to see probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And Tim O'Brien takes all Bob Dylan songs. There are 13 Bob Dylan tunes, a lot of them lesser known, and he's putting them out as bluegrass songs, and they're fantastic. He does the song Senor, which I think, you know, I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. Tim O'Brien has the definitive version of Senor, and that version is kind of the arrangement that so many other bluegrass artists play. I've heard Billy Strings do it. I've heard Sam Bush do it. It's fantastic. But he's doing stuff like that. He's doing, you know, bigger songs that you would know, like Tombstone Blues, Subterranean Homesick Blues. But then he's doing, you know, dark tunes like The Wicked Messenger, Farewell Angelina, Lay Down Your Weary Tune, Oxford Town, Man Gave Name to All the Animals. This is fantastic. Again, if you don't like Bob Dylan, if you like bluegrass music, check this out. It might get you into these songs. Tim O'Brien just does a fantastic job with them. From 1996 on the Sugar Hill label, Red on Blonde by Tim O'Brien. Again, let's stick to kind of the more country side of things. This will be the last one kind of in that vein. I mentioned this guy last decade in the 80s, but the 90s, again, were kind of a weird time for this artist. He was putting out stuff that was more like in the top 40 kind of country song charts, you know, songs like Tempted and things like that. But he got to a point where he wanted to do something with some, you know, solid meaning behind it, and something that he wanted to make as a true country album. And this is from 1999, and I'm talking about one of my favorite artists, Marty Stewart, and his album The Pilgrim. This is a concept album. Fantastic. It comes with a book about the story of the Pilgrim. He's got all sorts of people on here. His wife, Connie Smith, Ralph Stanley, Johnny Cash is on here, who I believe at this point he had already been Marty Stewart's father-in-law. But yeah, good songs on here. Songs like The Observations of a Crow, The Pilgrim, Harlan County is great. Red Red Wine and Cheating songs, Hobo's Prayer. He does an instrumental, John Henry is Still Driving Man. Yeah, fantastic songs. Just, you know, a gorgeous set of tunes. It's dark. It's got that country feel. It's also got that, you know, kind of feel of like, you know, where would I put this in a genre, a file. And yeah, The Pilgrim by Marty Stewart is just fantastic. Again, he would kind of merge from this into kind of the more psych, jingly, Bakersfield kind of sound that he's going for now. But The Pilgrim is just, it's a different record. It's very different, and I love it. Marty Stewart, The Pilgrim is fantastic. Americana. Now let's go into more of the, you know, what a lot of people might consider to be roots rock aspects of Americana. I mentioned Wildflowers by Tom Petty. I didn't pull that because I had Tom Petty out in the last decade. But, you know, Wildflowers, he had songs like Crawling Back to You, the title track, House in the Woods, just these kind of more country-based tunes, more acoustic tunes, again, produced by Rick Rubin, that Tom Petty did as his second solo record. So Wildflowers became a huge inspiration to so many songwriters. And, yeah, fantastic record from Tom Petty. We're going to jump now to kind of a group that has made a name for themselves as one thing, and then they split and did very different things. So I'm going to start with the album Anodyne by Uncle Tupelo. Again, this is an album I did not know until just a couple of years ago. I was given this, I believe, from my buddy JT at JT's Record Room gave me this. But fantastic country rock. You have Jay Farrar and old Jeffy Tweedy from 1993. It's a fantastic record. Again, a very short-lived group. I would love to see this album reissued as like a high fidelity or something like that on vinyl. But Anodyne, listen to the song A Cuff Rose. Fantastic. New Madrid is great. The Long Cut is fantastic. Just, back and forth with Jeff and Jay with their voices. And again, it's just got this feel of, it's not a rock and roll record, but it rocks. It's not a country record, but it's got some twang to it. A wonderful, wonderful record. But again, so many great things, Uncle Tupelo came to an end as the two creative forces did not necessarily see eye to eye with one another, and have never really gotten back together since. And so you had Jeff start one band who would be known as Wilco. This is their record, AM. Whoops. This is the first record by Wilco. It's the only record by Wilco that I enjoy start to finish, because it falls in line with the Uncle Tupelo sound. And again, just a fantastic record. This is from 1995. Again, country rock, kind of alternative. It's alternative in the sense that it's the alternative of what was on the radio at the time. But just so many great tunes. Listen to the song Shouldn't Be Ashamed, excuse me. That's my favorite off the record. Casino Queen is great. Box Full of Letters. It's just that simple. It's just a fantastic record. And then they would quickly change their styles with, their more commercially successful records like Yankee Foxtrot, etc. But that was a record that I wanted on vinyl for so long, and we finally got it with Rhino High Fidelity. So Wilco, thanks to Jeff Tweedy of Uncle Tupelo, and then you had Jay Farrar do his thing with the album Trace, which was the debut by Sun Volt, Jay's band, and this was also from 1995. Again, both of these came out last year as a reissue for the 30th anniversary. This was a record store day, Black Friday. This was a blind buy for me. I'd never heard this record, and people were like, I can't believe you never heard this record. It's true, I'd never heard it. But man, oh man, is it good. This is a deluxe version with bonus cuts. They did songs like Tulsa County, which the Byrds covered, but Live Free is a fantastic song. 10-Second News, Loose Strings, Drown. Man, it's good. And people often argue, who had the better debut? Was it Uncle Tupelo or was it Sun Volt? And it's really it's difficult to say because they're both so strong and so good. And again, kind of that rootsy rock that kind of alludes back to 70s era, Rolling Stones, kind of with that country twang to it, Sticky Fingers, all that good stuff. I say Sticky Fingers, that's from 69, I know that. So, no, it's not. I'm thinking about Let It Bleed. So sorry, forgive me. But Uncle Tupelo, Wilco, Sun Volt started so much, and started, as inspiration for so many bands that are out there, that I'll probably talk about in the next couple of videos. But yeah, fantastic records. Again, is it country? Is it rock? Not really. That's pretty much Americana in a nutshell. And then lastly, again, people might say, oh, that's not Americana. I'm going to put it in the genre because it fits right in with that Wilco and Sun Volt record. Also from the mid-90s. This is from 1996. This is Bringing Down the Horse by the Wallflowers. Now, obviously, the Wallflowers, helmed by Jacob Dylan, the son of Robert Zimmerman. There's Jacob looking sweet. Great stuff on here. I mean, you have Matt Chamberlain on the drums. Mike Campbell plays on this from the Heartbreakers. This is just a staple of, good, just rock Americana music that was coming out of the 90s. One Headlight was a banger. Sixth Avenue Heartache, Three Marlenas, The Difference. So many great tunes. I'm actually getting to see the Wallflowers later in May do this album, as well as perform Long After Dark by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So I'm very excited. But again, he's got that kind of twang that his dad has, even though he's not from the South. Just a wonderful, wonderful record by the Wallflowers. And again, one of those that inspired so many bands that came after it that, never quite had commercial success, and just we're still killing it with good music and good songwriting. So the Wallflowers, again, perfect kind of encapsulation of 90s Americana roots, whatever you want to call it. So that does it for me. Those are some records that I think kind of sum up the 90s. Let me know what you think. Let me know about people I left out. I know that you have your, again, your Hyatts, your Lucinda Williams, your Katie Langs, Gillian Welsh, all these people that were making names for themselves in the 90s. I know I left a lot of those people out. I'm sorry, but I've got some really good stuff coming in the 2000s that I'm excited to show. And I hope you stick around for it. I think I'm going to do definitely going to do the 2000s and 2010s, and I'm probably going to do a final video of 2020 and then the future of Americana or something along those lines. So I hope you stay tuned. Thank you for indulging me in this series. I'm sure some of my viewers that watch are hoping for other types of content. It'll be back, I promise, but I'm happy to be doing this series right now. And I thank you all so much for the warm reception you've given it. It means a lot. So thank you all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody that's watched and tuned in. In the meantime, y'all be good, take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.